So I worked on this Leakin beepin chainsaw today, and of course the video got way too long, and it kind of ends abruptly. Anyway, it's an hour-long video, so you better have lots of coffees or teas or drinks of some sort to sit and watch if you want to watch the whole thing. And whether I got it fixed or not, I have no idea. So I'm leaving it up on that block of wood and just letting the goo I put in there set up overnight, and then I will clean the Leakin beepin tray tomorrow, and we'll set the Leakin beepin chainsaw back in it, and we'll see what happens. I don't have too much faith in it, but anyway, we'll see. It's kind of nasty out still, so not a very nice day. Lots of freezing rain today. So the power could go out. Anyway, my videoing skills I think are getting worse and better instead of better. Anyway, oh dear, that's just the way it is. All right, so we'll leave it at that, and I'll get it back into the tray tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Goodbye now. All right, welcome viewers to Noel's Garden Tractors and Firewood. And today we're gonna look at that Leakin beepin chainsaw. So a little info on this chainsaw. I bought it about 10 months ago, and it was supposedly brand new. And it's been leaking burr oil ever since. So I bought it from a person that's a buddy of mine who operates his own small engine shop. So I should have known better not to buy something from somebody I know. Anyway, that is a long story, and we are not going to get into that today. The focus on this video today is to try and figure out where it's leaking and how I might fix it. Now, another little background on me and chainsaws. Every chainsaw that I have, and I have 3 or 4 of them, all leak burr oil. And I've worked 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 over the years trying to figure out how to stop them from doing that. Because it just doesn't make any sense to me that they do that. And I mean leak. I don't mean a few drops. I mean leak. So I'll pick up the Leakin beepin chainsaw, and you can see how much leak it is. So let's say you set that in somewhere that's the back of your car or your truck or something, and there you would have oil all over everything. Well, I guess. And some people say, and the chainsaw fellow that I bought this from says, they all leak, and there's just no change in that fellow's mind. Well, he works on them, and maybe he's right. I don't know. But it just doesn't seem wise to me that would leak that much. I could see a few drops after use. That I would think would be normal. That's been sitting in there probably 6 months, and that's not quite as bad as it used to be. I did take it back to the fellow I bought it from, and he did do something to what he said, and he said it was fixed, but it's obviously not fixed. But it's not leaking as much as it used to. Now I have this video might be a video or 2 or 3 long, but I do have a Husqvarna 350. And a quick little story on that one was I got it for nothing. The chain was wore out. The chain was rusted through the bar. That's how long it hadn't run. And I took it home, got fooling with it. I like fooling with something like that, so I got the chain all freed up and it was all working. And I put some fuel in it, and it started up and run real good. So I cut some wood with it. So then after that, I figured, well, it's working pretty good, so I put a new chain on it. So I did that. Afterwards, and a little while later, it started acting up in the carburetor. Well, that's a typical chainsaw as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so I had troubles with that. Then all of a sudden, it started leaking oil. And I don't know. I have a picture, but I have no way to put it on here, I guess. But you'd fill it up, and within a couple of days, it'd be empty. And be a puddle underneath it, anywhere from 6 to 8 inches around. Puddle. So that's all right. So that one is leaking. The other Red Max that I have, I bought used from the same fella that I got the 350 Husky from. It was a running saw, one that he used to, he sold wood on the side for something to do. So saw got well used. I've had it for probably 5 years. Never leaked oil. Never a drop out of it. So I thought this past year, I thought, well, I'll put a 20-inch bar on it, so it might be easier to get into the log pile and easier on my back. Soon as I put the 20-inch bar on, it started leaking. I only made 2 or 3 cuts with it just to try it out. The little pool end that I've got it for nothing after I bought this Red Max here on the bench, the Leakin beepin one, because I gave up on it and I got this pool end for free. That's great. So I took it apart and looked at it. It didn't look like it had a whole lot of hours on it, so that was all right. So, but it wasn't pumping oil, so the little gears on the pump were stripped. So I put a new pump in it. Worked great. Cut wood all last spring, and I cut wood all last summer, and all that stuff. All of a sudden, started leaking oil. So I took it apart and cleaned it and folded it, put it back together. It seemed the head stopped, and then started leaking oil again. So me and chainsaws, I guess we just don't get along. They either leak or they don't work, or both. Oh dear. If I didn't burn wood in my garage here, I wouldn't have to have any of these chainsaws. Oh dear. And I have an electric plug-in chainsaw that also works great, but it leaks also. It leaks bar oil. Oh dear. And it didn't at first when I bought it. I bought it used, and it wasn't leaking bar oil. Maybe I'm too hard on them. I don't know. But anyway, For some reason, it bothers me that they leak oil all over the place. Some people, that may not bother them. I don't know. But it bothers me. So, in this video or this series or whatever it's going to be, I'm going to take that off and take the bar off and look there and see if I can see where it's coming from. That is the other thing, is to determine where it's coming from. Then if I figure where it's coming from is the place that I'm figuring, and I did see a video on how to fix that. The fella, he used crazy glue on the little hose that goes into the oil tank for the pump, and apparently that fixed it. Now I'm not real keen on that idea, but I guess if it works, it works. But anyway, I was thinking about maybe using this product to seal all. It's resistant to gas and oil. The other one I was thinking about was goop. And I don't know if you guys can see that in there or not. No, I guess you can't. Anyway, crazy glue was one product. This is great stuff. I've used that quite a few times over the years. Good stuff. And I've used tubes and tubes and tubes and tubes of that stuff on various different things. Now, the tube I'm looking for, I can't find. And it is the shoe goo. I find it's just a little bit better than that one for some things. But of course, I can't find it. Normally, it is right in this package. And of course, today it's not there. And the thing that annoys me is I'm the only one in here. So it's obviously me to put it somewhere. Oh dear. Anyway, how far along are we here? 10 minutes and some. So the thing isn't jumping all around yet, I don't think. So we'll see about that. I don't know. That's the other day it all went haywire on me. It still seems to be working. Okay, so I'm going to get my hat off, and I'm going to put my studio light on. And we have an extra light here to maybe help us see. And we'll take that apart. That's about what we'll do for now. I just have no idea where that other tube is stuck with. And it normally is right here on the bench or in the package. Just makes you wonder some days, I guess. Some days. And in my case, it's every day. All right, we'll see what we can do here. So we'll take this off, and I want to try to do this without disturbing too many things here, so that the oil doesn't spread over everything, so that I then can't see where it's coming from. If somebody has any ideas as to how to fix these things, let me know. This chainsaw wouldn't have any more than, I don't think it's got any more than maybe 2 hours of runtime on it. Maybe. The other thing that wasn't working on this was the bog all the time. You go to get into a log and blah, 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 blah. Bog, bog, bog. So the chainsaw fellow says, well, you gotta let it warm up. Well, the thing was warmed up, I said. Anyway, he and I had some arguments. And that wasn't good. Now, I guess this is the thing that loosens the chain, maybe. So everything in there is all wet. I can see it's all wet on the screw thing that's moving. There. Now, how does this thing come apart? Chainsaws. So that's the other thing I was going to say is this video on this Leakin beepin chainsaw is dedicated to Mike from Maintenance with Mike. He always kind of gets a kick out of me talking about this Leakin beepin chainsaw. There you go, Mike. We're going to get out of here today. In the comments the other day, he said he couldn't wait for me to get at it. So that doesn't seem to come off for some reason, like most other chainsaws. For some reason. Why would that be? Oh, the other thing I gotta say, I'm not trained in repairing chainsaws. So everything I'm doing to this chainsaw and every other chainsaw I work on is strictly just from what I've tried to learn myself, or somebody has shown me. But anyway, what's going on here today? Don't want to come off. Alright, well, I guess I'll have to shut you off there for now, and I'll see if I can figure out how to get the plastic cover off. Alright, well, there you go. The brake was on, so I couldn't get it off, that's why. So, there's oil all along here. And oil along here and here. I guess you could probably expect that coming from the chain, I suppose. Well, let's see if I can get this off without hurting myself. Get this off of here maybe first. There you go, fall down. Oh, I got the chain. Got the chain off. And got the bar off. So now what? I don't know. Anyway, there seems to be kind of wet there by the look of it. And that's where the screw is, I'd say, for the oil adjustment. There seems to be oil everywhere underneath it too. And GZ4350, serial number and model number 2018. So is that the year it was made, or is that the year that they started making them? Anyway, I'm kind of thinking that I bought a new saw that was already 5 years old, but it was just sitting on the shelf. And made by Husqvarna, Sweden, and then says made in Japan. So supposedly better than Chinesium, I guess, as they say. So we got oil coming out of there. All right, so I guess I'll shut you off again, and I'll show you a little closer, though, I guess, what I'm doing. So that's the pump adjustment, I guess, in there. So I'm going to see if I can get that off and get this cover off. And then I'll bring you back and let you have a look at that. So got it all apart. I just hope you can remember how to put them all back together. Bits and pieces everywhere. Anyhow, I'm guessing that I can get the camera in the right spot here. This would be the out, and that would come across here and pump oil out into this area to go into the bar, to oil the bar. So it could be leaking there maybe, or in here. I didn't take this off yet, but it's a rubber there. And that rubber, I guess, would hook into where the tank is in behind. I don't know how that hooks to the tank. And then it comes out. I can't seem to get the light in there. It doesn't help a whole lot either. Anyway, you can kind of see the rubber at the top there. And then it goes into this block. So it sucks oil in here. This gear up in there. It's turned. Whatever way it goes. By this piece here. This has got a worm gear thing on the back of it. Right there, so that piece runs on that piece in here. So, who would know where it's leaking? It could be leaking in here up into that shaft where the gear is. It could be leaking here where this adjustment pin turns to allow more or less oil. Could be leaking there. Could be leaking in there. Could be leaking there. So I don't know how you figure that out. But I do see a bunch of oil right in there. Get the camera over. See if I can get into that. Oh. Need the oil. If I can get my hand in here, get the oil down in there. At the back, there's a bunch of oil there. See? Right. That could be the place where it's leaking. How do you fix it though? Right. I'll shut this off again and I'll get that pump out of there. Not yet a clear angle here because I'm kind of tied up with the other hand at the moment. So I've got that out. That big hole that you see there, that's where the pump goes into. Now, you see oil there, but when I took it out, this hose is covered in oil too. That's what's inside the tank. Now, what you can see on that bigger spot there, that's the part that goes into the tank. Now, whether that was, you can see the top side is dry, but the bottom side is wet. Now, whether I did that taking it apart, I don't know. Anyway, there's not a whole lot of surface there, except there's obviously nothing you can do about that. The surface here, where the rubber goes into and seals in that hole, there's not a whole lot of surface there. It only might be 1/8 of an inch. So, I don't know. I'm going to set you up here somewhere, I don't know where, but that's not very good. You can't see nothing there. And then over here. Can't see much there either. But anyway, I'm just going to try and clean that stuff off and out of there with this nice rag. You'd think they'd have a better system than that. But they don't. Well, the other thing is, how do you ever get that clean in there to put something on there to stick that might happen to seal it? That's the other question. That is the other question. Now, have a look at this. It's kind of nice that they got a screen on it there to keep the dirt out of it. That's a good idea. Never seen that before in one. This piece here, I'm not sure, but I'd say it seems to be attached to the aluminum pump, the rubber. I can't turn it. I could turn it, I guess, if I wanted to, but it seems tight. So we'll just maybe leave that. this piece on the top here, where the oil comes out and goes to the chain, it seems tight on here too. So I'm not going to do anything with that. I suppose I could get a new pump, but you know, holy cats, the thing is new, so why should I need a new one? Anyway, it's like anything, brand new and no good. So there's an awful lot of oil in there in the gears on that pump. So I'm not sure if that's something that is supposed to be there or not. It kind of makes me wonder that maybe it's supposed to be so that it'll lube the gears, maybe. Yeah, so the other thing that this thing did when it was new, like I say, it was bog and quit and bog and jump. It was an awful thing to keep running. Now, the small engine fellow that sold it to me did say that he adjusted it, and I don't know what he did, but anyways, I tried adjusting it, and I went as far as I could with the screw, and it didn't make any difference. So he decided, I guess, to maybe go beyond and adjusted it, and he says that it works good now. So, like I say, I've never had it running since I got it back from him, so I have no idea whether it is or not. Anyway, it's just the way that is. So you can kind of see here where it was sitting in there. I can get that in there, right there. That's the width of the body of the saw, and that's how much was inside. Hold myself straight or steady. Yeah, this little bit out here was inside the saw. This flat part from here to here was sealing on the body of the saw. So obviously it had a little bit of pressure all the way around. And seam there. Now whether that would make any difference or not, that's from the manufacturing thing. There's a little flap of plastic there. You can see right there. I'm going to cut that out of there. And okay, so now after fooling with that a bit, this does turn, and it comes off of there. I kind of figured it would, but it seems to go on nice and tight. There's no reason why it would leak, I wouldn't think. Anyway, all right. So what I'm going to do now shut these off again for a little while. And I'm just going to sit here and think as to why I burn wood. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. All right, so what I did, if I can show here, in this corner here, there was a little here to here, and then up on the side here, on the back where it goes up against the back of the tank, there was a couple of pieces like, if I can show it here, that one right there. See that there? A little bit of manufacturing stuff there from gluing it or molding it together, I guess. So something like that was up on this seam at the back here. So I took that and cut it out. All right, I'll shut you off again and I'll move along to the next step. All right, well, I can't find the stuff that I want to use, but anyway, I'm not sure if it is actually good for oil or not, but I know this stuff is gas and oil resistant anyway. And it's a contact adhesive and sealant. So Seal All product has been around for years. I remember using it in my father's garage to fix a float on a small engine. Had a hole in the float and put a little dab of that stuff on and fixed it right up. And my MF7 lawn tractor had a leak of oil, and I thought it was a gasket. So I replaced the gasket, and it's still leaking oil. So I got looking and looking, and sure enough, I found that the oil was leaking through the aluminum casting. So I cleaned her up as best I could. I put on a coat of this stuff. The next day, I put on another coat, a little bigger around, and I did that for 3 or 4 days. And it's never leaked since, and that's probably 10 years or more ago. Anyway, dandy stuff. So, excuse me, now that's what I'm going to try on here. It's not what I was wanting to, but I think the more I think about it, it's the better product. So I'm going to put it on around here where that goes into the tank and on the stud on the pump that goes into here. This here. So it's only going to take a wee little bit, so I'll just put a little little dab on here. I'll just kind of so anyway. Who knows if this will fix this or not. No good the way it was, that's for sure. Like I say, it already broke, so I'll have to try and fix it. So what I'm going to do then, I have it on the seal all glue on this part. I'm just going to push this on, and it has to go right like that. That piece has to be flat here, so it can go into the flat on the bottom there. So I cleaned that out best I could. A little bit of brake clean on that in there. So next step is to put the stuff on here. I can do that here. I'm just gonna whoop. Well, she's running out pretty good, so I'll just do it with my finger. Don't want too much on it, I guess. Anyway, you can kind of see what I'm gonna do here. Just gonna go around it and go around it, and now you might be wondering, well, what happens when you need to take it apart? Well, you'll have to deal with that at the time, I guess. But I don't think this stuff is like crazy glue or something like that. I don't think it will set up that hard that you won't be able to get it out. All right, now I'm going to do a little something else here. Another spot I want to clean out if I can. I don't think that's anything down in there. It's just the back end of a bolt, I think, that comes through the case to hold everything together. Yeah, I think that's all that was. Okay. That's all right. All right, so I'll put this back together. Here, always make sure you put your covers on the seal all or the goop as quick as you can. Don't leave it out into the air because it will dry quick and ruin the tube. All right, so this is going back in. We'll slide that back in the hole and that in there. We got our goo on there, so let's see what happens here. I'm going to try and find the two bolts that hold that in there. Well, just like that. I think. think it's these two bolts, I think. Looks like the snow plows are out, so the temperature has dropped a bit and it is kind of snowing at the moment. It's hard to say whether that'll work or not. I hope I put the right bolts in the right spots. Could be I made the wrong bolts somewhere along the way. I wouldn't doubt I should have put the other one in. Alright, now see. Would be figure that they'd use long and short bolts, wouldn't it? And somebody like me don't know what is what. Yeah, this is going to be quite a... Well, it didn't bottom out in the long one, so I think that's good because it was bottoming out on the other holes. So good plan to change that, I think. I'm bad for taking stuff out, setting it down somewhere and thinking that I will remember where it goes. Yeah, it don't work very good with me. Now, I think, this, see, I put the bolt in this one, so I'd remember what was what. All right, so this goes over that. These are just short bolts. Anyway, we'll shut you off there for now. Once I get everything back on, I'll do my final thought. All right, back in a few minutes. All right, I got the this thing on, whatever it is. I can't remember what it is. That thing, whatever it is, it's on there. So I'm going to put the chain back on again. I think I might put it on the right way. That might help someday if I go to use it. The right way. That'll be something. That'll be nice. So I've checked the bar. Clean this off here. I've looked in there to make sure that when the oil goes in there, it will come out into the chain groove here on both of them. So that's all good. Now let's see if we can get this back on. I don't know if you can hear the wind blowing or not there, but it's blowing pretty good today. Oopsie, pretty near knocked you down. Beepin chainsaws anyway. That's where the name comes from, Mike. Beepin chainsaws. All right, come on. And chainsaws just don't get along. No sir, no sir. Now, brown cow. Get that up in there, I guess. Like that.